challenging. For 21 years, I've served as a prosecutor at every level of government, and I'm proud to say that I have more prosecution experience than the last 7 Attorney Generals combined. The challenges in the Attorney General's office will require judgment and maturity, the kind of judgment and maturity that only that kind of nonpartisan public service can bring. My opponent, Mr. Cordray, is a decent and honorable person who's climbed quickly in his political career. He's an experienced candidate, and I respect his political skills. But I offer a different choice for Ohioans. I'm the only candidate in this race who's taken on organized crime and won. I'm the only candidate in this race who's investigated deadly drug gangs and won. I'm the only candidate in this race who's prosecuted white-collar criminals without regard to favoritism or friendship. One classic example, and it's probably a case that I shall for eternity be tied to, the Pete Rose case. Growing up, I loved baseball. Pete Rose was one of my heroes. Few people play the game better than Charlie Hustle, and certainly no one was more aggressive at running the bases than Charlie Hustle. But when I was the United States Attorney, we found that Mr. Rose had evaded paying his federal income taxes. So, because everyone must be accountable and everyone must obey the law, I prosecuted Mr. Rose. It wasn't a task that I enjoyed, but nonetheless I took my oath seriously and I did my duty. I promise you that I'll bring that same approach to the job of Ohio Attorney General if I'm elected in November. And let me just point out, Attorney General is the only statewide office that I have any interest in. Far too many people think the initials AG stand for aspiring governor. But as someone who's built a career of fighting criminals rather than waging political campaigns, I can tell you that the only AG I'll ever be is Attorney General. And that's if the voters place their trust in me in November. Now, in the weeks to come, I'll be talking very specifically about my detailed plans for the office. Today is about the beginning of my campaign. In the next several days, I'll be meeting with many other legal professionals and putting together my point-by-point agenda for change. So I'll defer questions on those specifics until we all meet next time. For now, however, I will leave you with this. Although I'm a proud Republican, and proud to be a Republican who was nominated to be the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Ohio by President Ronald Reagan, I've never been a down-the-line partisan. And I'm not about to change that now, ladies and gentlemen. I prosecuted Republicans, I prosecuted Democrats, I prosecuted independents, and they only had one thing in common: they broke the law. In both the military and law enforcement, like an umpire in baseball, you have to call them as you see them. That's what I learned during the course of my education at Annapolis, and that's what I practiced in my service to my country as a naval officer. It's also what I practiced as a prosecutor for 21 years. And if the voters elect me, I can assure you that I'll continue to call them as I see them as Ohio Attorney General. As I begin to visit with the voters of Ohio, from Ashtabula to Cincinnati, from Archbold to Marietta, I'll look for support from all voters. But as I hit the campaign trail, those who support me should know one thing. It's something that Mark Dan forgot along the way. My supporters and friends shouldn't expect favors from me or the office of Attorney General. We've seen far too much of that lately, and it's time for a change. I'm looking forward to the challenge. As a prosecutor with 21 years of experience, I know how to resolve a problem. As a naval officer who helped manage thousands of young men and young women in uniform, I know how to right a ship. And that's exactly what I intend to do when I'm elected Attorney General. And I'm ready to begin. Thank you very much for being here today.